Welcome to How Now, the podcast where we talk about how to live in the now. And here's your host, Kim Martin Raymond.
Peace and blessings, love and light, and welcome to this edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. I am your host, Kim Martin Raymond. I'm a minister, spiritual life coach, author, and founder of Redefining You, LLC, where I help my clients to realign themselves, mind, body, and spirit. So welcome to this evening's show. If this is your first time listening in, welcome to the How Now podcast family. Make sure that you go to www.hownowpodcast.com, pick your favorite podcast platform, and make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, and share. You can also click on the banner that's at the bottom of the page, and it will take you to the How Now YouTube channel, where you can like, follow, and share and subscribe there. You can see some of the shows that you may have missed in our past 2 seasons, and you can also be notified of the shows as they are coming up. That's every Wednesday at 8 p.m. So make sure you go to www.hownowpodcast.com. Okay, so let's hop into our topic for this evening. We're going to be talking about the woes in childcare. Where do we go from here? You know, it's been quite a time. You know, I've worked in the childcare industry. A lot of you know that I have a background in education, and it's really been a challenge, especially for our young children. We have had so many traumas that have come along with this pandemic, and it's been a trying time, you know, and so we want to dive into a little bit of a behind the scenes with regards to our childcare industry. And we are going to talk with our guests about, how that looks from the other side of the coin. So as is customary with the How Now podcast, I'm going to have my guest to introduce herself at this time.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Camille Williams, and I am the executive director at a local childcare facility here in the Atlanta, Georgia area. I have been teaching in childcare and leading childcare facilities now for the past, it was 2001 years. 20 years now. Started off as a 2-year-old teacher and just worked my way up the ladder, and have been leading fellow teachers and leading schools now for the past 5 years. So
awesome.
Something that I absolutely love. I'm a mom of 2, a new teenager, so a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old, and
nice.
A wonderful wife. And so I just love working with children, honestly. Working with children and teaching and leading other early educators is definitely my passion. So thank you so much, Kim, for having me today.
Awesome. My pleasure. My pleasure. It's wonderful to, be with another, fellow educator and parent. And that's something that's so important when we talk about childcare and we talk about those who are in administrative roles in childcare facilities, finding out a little bit of their background and realizing that, most of them are parents, grandparents, or have had instance to work with children over a long period of time. I love that you say that, that not only have you been, working with teachers, but, also that you've been coaching them and mentoring them. And that's something that's important, when we're talking about, the welfare and the safety of our children. Okay. So like I said, it's a pleasure to have you here. And we're just going to have a wonderful conversation about childcare and the childcare industry. So let's take a step back first. We're going to go, pre-COVID. And talk about how things were going
way back when.
Way back then, right? We're looking at, we're creeping up on 3 years that we've been in this pandemic, and we're still actively in this pandemic, and we want to, make sure that people are cognizant of that. It is not that it has lapsed or that it has passed, and it has definitely affected the childcare industry. So let's talk about pre-COVID, things that were going on in the childcare industry. What were just some of the things that were, that were consistently problematic, or things that you found were difficult in the childcare industry pre-COVID?
Pre-COVID, it was very hard for me to get parents truly involved.
Mhm.
I must say that they love the activities, but the involvement, was a little difficult at that time. It was difficult to really be able to truly talk to parents when it came to behaviors. It was brushed off a lot, or it was just kind of like, oh, well, we'll wait till they're a little bit older, so that was a little bit difficult when it came to speaking with parents about any type of developmental concerns before. It was going, going, going. We were constantly busy doing activities. So I feel like there was no downtime for our teachers and also the fellow administrators, whether it be trainings or more events or something like that. Like it was just constantly moving. So it was the hustle and the bustle of the game constantly and trying to it was a stretch for come on, let's get more kids in the building. Let's just continue to try to enroll. And then COVID came and we got a breather.
Right.
It was a
Right.
good breather, but it was a scary time, right? So,
Right.
but it was a time for us to actually connect, which was great. Parents were actually more involved, more active. They wanted to know how they could help, what they could do, which was absolutely amazing.
Right.
We had parents who, were just let me give you some masks. Let me get you a new air system in your building. Like they were constantly giving, checking in, and that was very, 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 very appreciative at that time. And even now, they still do, which is great. I think now, like I said, we have parents who are more engaged. They really do want to know more. I think they've really taken more into appreciating their early child care field, and really wanting to be more involved. So they are really interested in knowing more about the curriculum. How can they volunteer? It wasn't just like a to-do list anymore.
Right.
Now I
Right.
see them more engaged. And I see my teachers they've slowed down too. It isn't just
Right.
about let's get through the day, let's get through this activity. They really are starting to do more documentation, really just do
Right.
more assessments on kids, so that when we do have those difficult conversations, we're giving some legit information. It's not just
Right.
about behavior or, Bobby's running up, climbing on the furniture. No, it's more documentation with times and dates and how we were able to redirect. How long was the redirection for? How long did it last? But then what was next? So it's more thorough now. So it was, COVID changed a lot.
Yeah.
But we always look at the positive now. When I think back, do I enjoy the time pre-COVID or post-COVID? And like you said, we're still in it, so there really is no post.
Right.
But
Right.
I'm enjoying the post, honestly,
Right.
because it just gave us the time to really just reconsider what's important, what's not important when it comes to teaching our children and leading a
Right.
school and being
Right.
involved with parents. It really just gave us the time to slow down and just be more active. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's wonderful, and that's something that's important. You made some key points. It's interesting because, like you said, we all were so busy with the hustle and bustle of life and just going through the motions, and it was almost robotic. You
It
get up,
was.
you ring the
Yes.
bell, alarm rings, you get up, you get the kids ready, you take them to school, you go to work, you come back, pick up the kids,
It
you have dinner, blah blah
was.
blah blah. So it's just everything is
Yeah.
just going back and forth. And now all of a sudden you're in a space where, wait a minute, now everything slowed down. People had to pay attention,
Yes.
and people had to, and then people really, really started to understand the importance of what it was that
Yeah.
educators did. We saw that
Right.
in the public school sector,
Yes.
and we saw it also in the childcare facility. People
Yes.
did not realize their own children and the
No.
behaviors or anything that was going on with their children
No.
until they were tasked with having to take care of their children
To have them 24/7
themselves.
in their house.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Where
It
they could
changed
not get that
everything.
breather and they had to take on that role of being the educator in the household and teaching. Oh my goodness.
Right.
I think that was an eye opener for myself
Absolutely.
as well. I
Yeah.
mean, my children at that time, they were 10 and 8, and like they became little college students, right? They had to learn how to do the online learning, how to navigate
Right.
that. they had so many different tools. Seesaw, It's Learning, iReady. It was just so many different things, but they
Right.
all had to keep up with that, you know?
Right.
And so I think for us too, it was just like, my goodness, we had to learn how to use Google Meets. We had to learn how to use Microsoft Teams. We had to learn
Right.
all these different.
Right. Zoom became, took off and,
Yes.
it had been established. And it was really a time of trying to
Yes.
figure out, oh
Yes.
my goodness, what do I do? They really did not, parents really did not understand,
Yeah.
what that whole process of teaching and
Right.
creating an environment of learning for their children, they
Right.
didn't realize the importance of that until
No.
they were tasked with having to do it. And that's something
Right.
that's so important for people to remember. It's not until you're tasked with doing it that you really understand
And
and begin to have
appreciate
a
it.
respect. That's right. And an appreciation for those who do
Yes.
it for a bulk of the day. For
Yeah.
those parents who drop their children off at 6 a.m. and pick them up at 6 p.m.
Mm.
12 hours we're spending with your children.
Right.
So,
Right.
it's a matter of making sure that they understand the magnitude of that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
have a respect and an appreciation for those who have a passion for it. You said it yourself,
Yeah.
you have a passion for this, you
Yeah.
know and we begin to see the value in what it
Exactly.
is that people are doing. So like you said, there wasn't as much interaction from the parents, and then it became, hey, what can I do? And so we
What can
love
I
that
do?
paradigm shift. We love that there were
Right.
changes that were made, so
Right.
that way we can see that involvement. People were actually taking time and investing time in their children's education,
Yes.
as they should have been doing
Before.
pre-COVID. Right, right. It was a
Before,
hard lesson to
right?
learn. You didn't want them to learn it that way, but we're glad that some of them
Exactly.
are learning it. So
Yeah.
that's something that's important. And then you also made another point that was good, talking about the staff and how they had to step in, and the tireless hours that I'm sure that they've had to endure in order to keep doors open. There were several childcare facilities that had to close due to COVID.
Right, right.
And
And we were truly blessed. We did not have to close at all. So, we went from a school that had an enrollment, of 252 kids. And then in the peak of COVID, we had 15 children in our building. And
Wow.
I remember walking in our building and praying for all those children and those families, calling the children by name, and those families by name during COVID, and just having this feeling of wow, like in the instant, like in a flip of a switch, our kids were
Right.
gone.
Right.
Parents were just so scared, and just trying to do what they can do to keep everybody safe.
Wow.
And so we served a lot of families who worked in the healthcare facilities. So we wanted to be open for them as much as we can. We had to navigate teacher schedules where teachers worked 1 week on, 1 week off, and rotate that way. Parent teachers who we knew had, their parents at home, we had them, stay home for a while, so that, just to be out of precaution as well. So they
Right.
use their
Right.
PTO, or, it was such a blessing to have, to be able to use that when we weren't working full time, to have that subsidy from the government helped a lot. So we had to have that unemployment, and then the additional bonus that came with that as well. We all got that. So, that was something that our owner did apply for, and make sure that we were taken care of the best way that we can for our families too. So
Right.
it was crazy for numbers to drop that quickly.
Right.
But we kept going. We kept doing the online. We made packets for parents to pick up. We did online readings. We did class Zoom meetings once a week as well. We just tried to make the connection, keep it there, so that students could see each other, parents could see that we were still here, we're in there with them, and to really encourage them as when they felt ready to come on back as well. A
Right.
lot of our families did do like a good faith tuition. They had already paid their tuition for the month, and they said, no, we're going to come back. You keep that. Use that money to make sure you can pay our teachers.
Wow. See, and
Our
that's
teacher stays,
phenomenal.
right? And I just get goosebumps because
Mhm.
that was a surprise, just to see how much they cared about us and our school. And so,
Wow.
yes, that was like I said, it was a turning point, and slowly and gradually they've been coming back, which is amazing. We've had new families join us as well. And so our enrollment's back up to 222 kids, and
Awesome.
we're going. We're keep going.
Awesome.
Yes, we want them back. So yeah.
That is wonderful, and that's the thing that we want to see. You know, it's when you have something like this occur, and then it's all about relationships.
Yes.
It's all about
Definitely.
building trust. It's all about having families trust that you are cleaning your facility properly, and that they don't have to fear that their children may contract COVID, or if they do, that the proper precautions are being taken and the proper measures are enacted when it does occur in your building. And so, I mean, it's important that people realize that there are a lot of moving parts behind the scenes when it comes to these, to having the facility up to par, to making sure that the children are in a safe environment. And just like you said, to go from 255 to 15, that has to be frightening. You're working and not knowing whether those people are going to come back, whether they're going to be scared to come back, whether they trust you enough to bring their children back. I'm sure that there was a lot of fear. And then, how are you going to keep a full staff, like you said, having to do those rotations and bring people in. I'm sure
that even as us managers, we worked 5 hours a day, 4 to 5 hours, and we did have to adjust our hours, instead of working the normal 12-hour day, we did go back to like 7 to 5:30, because we didn't have that many children there, and so we were able to send staff home. But yes, it was totally different. I remember making a video to let parents know what they were coming to, because we now had a face shield on, we had a mask on, we had a overcoat to protect us, we had gloves on, just the procedure on how to make sure that we did temperatures before they came in the building, wash their hands. Like it was just, I remember making all those videos and showing parents, like, we're doing everything that we can. Our environment is safe. We did our contact tracing. So when teachers went into one classroom, they stayed in that classroom. If they wanted a bathroom break, it was one person the whole entire day who was able to go in and give all the teachers breaks. So we knew who was in the classroom, where they have been in the whole building. Children didn't mix. They stayed in their classrooms the whole entire day. I mean, Lysol, Clorox, everything. And it still is, in all honesty, we still, masks are recommended. They're not required. And we still have many staff members and children that still wear masks at our school. We're still using Lysol and Clorox as our cleaning tools, as well as we have a cleaning company that comes in the evenings. EnviroMaster comes in once a week to do their electrostatic cleaning. So all these things are still in place, right? And so we can only continue as new viruses and diseases come up to just be proactive, But the thing is, we don't let our guard down. We don't stop everything and then we have to start it back up. Keep it going, just continue with the same cleaning materials, making sure our cleaning routine is the same. Staff continue to do their closing checklists and submit that in the evening, so we know how the classrooms are being cleaned. So we're just still, and we don't take temperature checks, but we still sanitize hands as they enter the building. And so Lysol still being sprayed everywhere. Like, we're still doing all those things.
Still taking the precautionary measures.
Yeah, because you just never know. This cold and flu season coming up, everything just pops up. And so as much as we can, we try to just be proactive.
Very good. And it sounds like communication is definitely something that is vital, because as the CDC and the World Health Organization and other facilities are talking about different things in different channels and making different recommendations, I'm sure it had to be hard to say, okay, you can come in the building, you can't come in the building, okay, you got to wear a mask, you can't wear a mask, oh, you got to going back and forth. Talk about the importance of making sure that communication was happening, not just with the parents, but with the staff as well.
Right. So we had lots of staff meetings. We did, of course, we did Zoom meetings as well during COVID, and even now we still do them. And then we continue to do the email, the text message, group me. We do that as well. Our school uses an electronic, an app that we use to communicate to parents and staff as well. So we are constantly just letting them know, just not just about COVID, but things that are just happening around our country and around our community. You know, if something happened at another preschool, we let them know, listen, this is what happened at a fellow preschool, and we need to make sure that we continue to stay vigilant when it comes to our supervision and accounting for children and so forth. So we are always just staying on top of just communicating about everything with them. So and I do my Sunday evening recap to everyone, letting them know what's coming up, what's, you know, what we need, what I plan on doing if I have meetings or rounds with staff and all those type of things. So communication is key. Absolutely. You can't go into this business or go into the day blindsided by things. You just have to know, you know? So, yeah.
Absolutely. So let's fast forward a little bit to, you know, more recent situations that are going on, you know, with our staffing. How has staffing been affected by COVID? You know, we talked about how people have been rallying together and how they've been here and been supportive, and that's great. But we've also seen a shift in you know, people running into this industry.
Right.
So what has that looked like?
You know, it's totally different. And this past weekend when we were at last week when we were, a couple weeks ago when we were at the GCCA conference, I think our speaker said it very clearly that the people who we're hiring now, we wouldn't have hired 3 years ago, right? They need more training. They're taking longer to train. They need more assistance when it comes to understanding how things work in the childcare facility. So we have newcomers. We have now truly stay-at-home moms who are now starting to come into the business as well. Younger staff members are coming into the business, and they're not staying long. They are not. They try something and, oh, this is not for me, and they go somewhere else, you know. And so as the thing is in our business, you have to have a background check. You have to have your 10 hours of health and safety training done within 30 days. You have to be CPR and first aid certified within 30 days. So all this investment is being put into staff members in the first 30 days, and they're not lasting long, right? They're lasting for 3 months, 6 months. And then, you know, so it's like, man, I know we only plan on having some staff. You only have them for a time, right? But that's a lot of work to put in, to invest in someone for them not to stay. So turnover is something that we're working on. We look at bonuses, we look at retreats, we look at little giveaways that we can do to try to encourage our staff to stay longer. So we're always looking for more ideas. And you know, how we can, you know, looking at, before we really didn't hire a lot of part-timers. Everyone was full-time. But now people just want to work 8 to 2. They want to work, you know, 6 to 11. And it's like, world.
Right.
So now you're piecing together your shifts, your day, and then classrooms and so forth. And so more teachers are involved in caring for children, but you got to stay on making sure you do your background check. You got to make sure that you do this.
Screening is key.
Regardless of how long they stay, you have to stay on it, because things can come after that if you don't. If you let something slide or slip through the cracks, that could be your school's license. That can be, you know, a citation. It could be all of those things. So yeah, it's definitely different. Definitely.
Right. And I can imagine, like I said, the screening process, and like you said, making sure, you know, because you know, in different states, sometimes the agencies are taking a little longer to get information back. But you need that information in order for them to be able to work with the children. You have to have their background checks. If it's taking longer for them to do those things, I'm sure that slows down the process. And then, like you said, by the time you get information back, you want to make sure that you're having the right people, you know, in there. And just like you said, I'm sure it's been difficult to find a fit, you know, for people who are willing to stay. Like you say, younger people who are new to the industry. You're not getting as many seasoned or veteran people that are coming in. So I'm sure that that's a challenge. So now, of course, I want to make it a little more personal, because now, how does that affect you as an individual? Because here it is, you're having to juggle, you know, interacting with the parents. You're having to juggle interacting with the staff. You have to deal, and with the children, you're dealing with several different types of personalities coming at you with different concerns from all angles. How do you keep it together?
No, I pray. Every morning I wake up, my alarm goes off. I look at my phone and see if anybody has called out for the day.
Okay.
So I can let my other managers know. And then I start to pray. And I'm just like, God, please let this day go well. You walk before all of us, and make sure we stay aligned to you, stay focused on you. And so that pushes me through, honestly. But you just make do. Honestly, I use a lot of my seasoned staff members to help with training as well. To help shadow, and I asked, do you mind staying a little bit later to help train this teacher so that they understand how to close the classroom and so forth. So that has helped, using my seasoned staff that has been at our school for a while. That has helped as well. If there's a language barrier, I try to find a fellow teacher that can help with translation. Or if they are closing a classroom, I place them strategically in a classroom that's close to the office. So that way, if any parent is trying to communicate, I can quickly step in to also help communicate or ask questions and so forth that way. So that has helped quite a bit. We just make do. We have to. And the good thing is I have a team that everyone is hands-on. Everyone tries to help out. Managers try to help out everyone. So our owner tries to help out. So it definitely helps a lot. Yes.
Yeah. It's about delegation, and I mean, you make a very valid point there. We're there's no I in team, like they said. So no man is an island. You can't do everything. And so it's always good to be able to delegate and to be able to recognize those who can fulfill the task that you can't do, you have the capacity to do, but that you can pass on to someone else. So that's important, that to be able to do.
And we all have stuff going on, whether it be outside of work as well. Absolutely. So our own families. So we have a lot going on as well. And so if it is switching our shifts, I need to switch a shift. Can you switch with me? Do you mind driving the bus today so that I can leave early to go do this? We just have to have compassion and understanding. Listen, the kids cannot run the building, so therefore we got to make it work. Everybody find out how we can make it work, and let's let's make sure that they're safe, they're getting what they need. And my thing is, when they all go home and I don't have a boo-boo report, or I know when I walk that building, I know they're all gone, I'm like, that's when I can, relax, let my guard down. But until then, whatever is needed, everybody jump in. That's what we just have to do.
Right. Because if you don't, when you jump in, you just want to make sure you're not jumping in with an anchor around your neck.
Right, okay.
Okay. You don't want to sink right to the bottom, but just like you said, it's a matter of having people in place. So the one thing that from a parental perspective, is what should parents be looking for? You as a parent, what were you looking for when you were looking for childcare for your child? What are some things that people need to make sure that they're cognizant of if they're looking for childcare, or if they're looking to change the facility that their child is in? They're going to make the transition.
You should be able to walk into the school, and anyone at the front desk, any other manager that's there, they greet you with a smile. It's a hello, it's a welcome, come on in. So of course, that climate and that environment of the school, it should be warm and welcoming. Your child's going to be there 7+ hours a day, 8+ hours a day. So make sure that the environment feels conducive to what you want. Is it loving? Is it warm? Is the teacher greeting the child by name? Of course, you want to make sure that the curriculum, I would say, definitely look at what your child's going to be learning. Is there going to be screen time? Are they watching TV? Is that something that's going to be included? But what are they going to be learning? I also say, look at the teacher credentials. How long has the staff been here? Are they CPR first aid certified as well? That's key to also know as well. And so ask those questions. One of the best questions that I had recently to me is, how do you plan on keeping your staff here so that you don't have the turnover? And so this is
Wow.
the parent asking me that. I'm like,
Right.
wow. I'm like, well, thank you so much for that. No one's ever asked me that, you know? So think of out of the box questions. Of course, you can go online and see all the other questions to ask, but think of stuff that is personable to you. Like, listen, if I invest, if I'm giving you this money so that my child can get this education, what are you doing to make sure that my child's teachers stay? Because once they make that connection, once a child makes that connection,
That's right.
they truly do love and trust that teacher, and the parents do too. So that's like a friendship, you know? And I think sometimes we forget that our kids, they really do love coming to school. The first couple of weeks might be hard for those children who
Right.
have a hard time with separation or transition. But once they start to independently come into that building and they look for you every day, you know? So it's just kind of like, what are we doing that was a great question, like I said, to keep them. And so I talked about how we look at semi-annual raises. We look at also teachers, we give them the opportunity to see if they want to stay in this classroom after a year, or are they looking to try another room. So things so that they can see how their talents can go from one class or one age group to a next. So those are some great questions to kind of ask. So yeah.
That's beautiful. Those are wonderful, ways in which a parent can be informed and make the best decision for the care for their children, especially if the children are going to be there for a long period of time. If they're going to be there for an extended amount of time during the day, you want to make sure that they're in a place that's safe. You want to make sure that they're in a place where, where it seems like things are a well-oiled machine. For a lot of our children, especially those who have had separation anxiety, some who have had a little bit of shock due to COVID and seeing all these people masks, it has really affected our children. We are seeing children that are falling on the spectrum for autism and for special needs. We are seeing children that are suffering with PTSD, all kinds of things that are going on. And so I know that it's important to create environments for them that are stable, because this may be the only point of stability for them during the course of the day. So there is safety in that. They are confident that when they come into a facility, they want to know that when they come there, they're going to get a meal. They're going to have an opportunity to go outside and play. They're going to have an opportunity to take a nap if it's age appropriate. Those kinds of things. Those are things that are going to be important for parents to consider. What is it that their children are going to be doing during the course of the day?
Right.
This is an investment. We all know that childcare is an investment.
It is.
It's like a car note. It's like a house note.
Not cheap.
It is not
It is
cheap.
not cheap. No, not at all.
So they want to know what are they getting for their investment.
And I feel like as many questions as I ask, as the parents ask us, that is some of the things that I ask them. I ask them now because we know a lot of children were in schools before COVID. Then COVID came and they're now at home. And so now they've been coming back. And I ask those parents, do you have any developmental concerns? And when they start to say, well, they were in school and they were talking, and then we kept them at home and then they stopped talking, that is a key factor for me right there. That lets me know, okay, well, we need to make sure that we do our assessments. And then also, and I tell my parents, I said, well, I always say all the time, well, for the first week, we will do an assessment to see how they're doing in the classroom. Then I will meet with you and we will let you know if we feel like your child needs a little bit more. We'll provide you with resources, neighboring businesses, county information, so that you can look into that as well. But I always ask them, do you have questions about your child's development? Has your child ever had any, have they been diagnosed with anything? These are good questions for us to ask, because also, like I say to a lot of families, we're educators, we're teachers, we're not therapists. And so we welcome all children into our buildings. But if we know that we cannot serve them the best way that they need to be served, then we're going to help you find either resources or a school, or help you guide you into that direction of where you need to be. But, so that's something that as a center, as a leader, that's one thing that I ask, because I also know my teachers, none of them, many of them are not equipped or know how to,
Right.
also work with children who have developmental needs that we aren't able to meet. So that's one of the key
Yeah.
questions that I do ask.
Awesome. I mean, it just sounds amazing. And these
Yes,
are things that we hope that, childcare facilities across the nation are doing, because we're seeing limited staff.
yes,
We're
you
seeing a
have
lot of
to.
people acting out of frustration.
Right,
And so I love that you say that you're, creating incentives for your teachers to stay, that
right,
you're asking. I love that idea of having them after a year saying, okay, is this a good fit for you? Do we need to move you? It's not
right,
we need to move you out of the building. We may just need to
right,
move you to a different age range. You know
right,
what I'm saying? Because that's
right.
sometimes what happens. We just say, oh, well, you're not a fit. It may be that person was not a fit for that
For that age.
age group. They
Yep,
may shine, or they may thrive working with a different group of children.
right, right,
And
exactly.
just having that willingness to be open to communicate, to
Yeah,
see value in what it is that the person is passionate about, and saying, okay, how can I help you to
yeah,
experience, have a positive experience in this facility, just
right,
like the children do. It's all about the
exactly.
adults too. And I really think that, the focus has been on making sure that the administrative staff, making sure that the staff people themselves are in a space where they're feeling safe and where
Right,
they're feeling appreciated. Because if they don't, we're seeing a lot of people in the news lately that are
yeah,
inappropriately touching our children, harming
is,
our children, and parents are fearful. They're scared to know,
yeah,
what is going to make them feel comfortable coming to your facility. And a lot of what you've been sharing, is an example of things that they should be looking for. There
right,
should be that communication. There should be that
right,
openness. There should be that willingness to tell them, we're willing to assess your child. We're going to try our best to work with your child to make sure that this is
right,
the best fit for them. And if it's not, we're going to partner with you to help
yeah,
put your child in a place that's going to be best for them.
right. You have to, I think because I know I had done a lot of research before about preschool suspensions in my college when I was working on my master's, and I couldn't believe it. And so
Right.
the thing is, a lot of those suspensions, I'm pretty sure that I had read about and did articles and so forth. Honestly, I really do feel like if teachers or the schools had partnered with a lot of those behavioral therapists, ABA therapists, looked really partnered with a lot of different other businesses that can come in and serve. And so we have amazing businesses around my preschool right now where they have therapists who come to our children to do services in our school building with kiddos. We also have Forsyth, one of the counties, they come out as well to work with their children too. Or we get to send them there and then they come half day there, half day with us. Not everything has to be just that classroom is a special needs classroom. Some children are ready for that community classroom and they just need to just kind of start to enter it in slowly.
Right.
So I
Right.
think as you get to know more about the child and their needs, make sure I highly recommend that schools partner with a lot of other therapists,
Right.
businesses, and with the county school system as well, because there are a lot of families who do not know.
Right.
One of the things that I serve as is a decal ambassador for the Department of Early Care and Learning here in the state of Georgia. And I help with making parents know more about the Child Care Assistance Program, about the special needs, I forgot the name of the organization off the top of my head, but there's a special needs organization in here in Georgia that you're able to meet other families, find out other doctors or other resources that are available for families as well. I give them more information about where to find meals. Like that also helps. Like a lot of parents just do not know. They
Right.
really do not know. And I think when COVID came, a lot of parents, it was harder to reach them too.
Right.
That we're able to get together more and have go to festivals and so forth. Like this is where I serve to make sure parents know about a lot of these services that are available because keeping kids at home or not having a preschool that is not licensed or is not quality rated or is not providing that quality care. Like there's a whole website that you can go and choose where you would like for your children to go. And it does not have to just be, grandma, let's get them socialized. Let's help them so that they're successful, when they get to their public school or private school years when it comes to like kindergarten and older. So that has helped a lot as well.
Yeah. I mean, and that's awesome. That's the thing. It's just that resources are out there. And we're having platforms like these where we can have these conversations because it's important for people to be able to make informed decisions, especially when it comes to their children, especially when it comes to their care, especially when it comes to addressing the problems, because we as parents, we might not be capable of being able to to resolve the issues for the children, just within the family realm. We have to reach out to the community and to see what we can do to best assist our children. So it's wonderful to have platforms like this, to have people like yourself who are taking time to extend their passions and their knowledge and their wisdom to others, so that way we're creating the best and the safest environment for our children. It is so important. It is so important. And so
and the thing is, we have to advocate for them. They're little. They cannot speak for themselves.
That's it.
Right. So we have to help. We have to advocate for them. And honestly, we have to help a lot of our families. A lot of our parents just don't know. So wherever, as a leader in the community and where we serve so many children, having this knowledge to share with other families who can share with other families and so forth, it's super important. So
it is super important. Well, with that, I am going to say thank you so much for coming and talking about childcare, talking about the industry, talking about the importance of making sure that communication is happening, and that we're supporting and encouraging our educators that are with us, and that we're letting them know that they are valued, letting our families know that their children, and that the children that are in our care are important. That is important for our families to know. And so it's all about making sure that we're keeping that connection. You do it so well. I thank you for all that you're doing for the children in your community, for the children in your facility, and pray that you continue and having much success with that. Now, before we go, I want to, if there are some who are interested, who may live in the Georgia area or in the Atlanta area, and may be interested in knowing more about your facility or about areas, is there a contact number or a contact email that they can reach you at?
Yes, please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions pertaining to early childhood education, about any of the programs that the state of Georgia offers families through the Department of Early Learning right from the start. If I don't know, I will definitely direct you to someone who does know. So you may definitely contact me. It's Camille, Camille, another E, Williams at AOL.com. So Camille E. Williams, please reach out to me. I would love to direct you to where you need to go and go from there.
Awesome. And even if they don't live in the state of Georgia, even if they're just interested in what questions they should ask or some things that they should be looking for, Camille can point you in the right direction.
Yes, definitely.
So that is Camille, Camille, another E, and Williams, Williams at AOL.com. It will be in the description for the show when it airs, and you will be able to get in contact with her. Okay, another question I always ask all of my guests before we go: how are you living in the now? How are you navigating in this space that we are in right now?
I'm taking every moment to spend time with my family. I love my babies. My husband is amazing. So whenever we can kick up our feet and just watch a movie together, go on a drive, just be involved in some of the festivals and activities in the area, I take advantage of it. I'm one who definitely believes that my children they just mean so much to me. And so I know that these years, as they start to get older, they're going to
Right.
start looking at college and all those things. And so having them with me and spending time with them, making those memories with them, and showing them how, how to truly love. When me and my husband are together, we show them what true love looks like,
Yes.
how to love one and each other. It's a boy and a girl, so they have their little tips sometimes. But I spending time with them makes me happy, and so that's how I'm living in the now, making
Yes.
sure I spend my time with them. So yeah.
Yes, yes, family is important.
Yeah.
Family is important. I love that. I love that that your children get to experience love and they get to see it through your relationship with
Yeah.
your spouse. So that is something that is amazing. We've been seeing a lot of people who, they're in the house and they're together and they're just like, oh, do I really want to be with these people? So it's nice to see. Nice to see
No,
people
right?
want to be with each other, enjoy being with each other, and enjoy spending time. That is a
Yes,
blessing. It is a blessing, and it's definitely
exactly.
not something that we want to take for granted.
Yes,
Okay, but
definitely.
it is, like I said, it's been a pleasure having you on the
Thank
show.
you.
You're always
Anytime.
welcome back. You are always welcome
Yes.
back. Once a Hound Now podcast guest, you're always welcome back because
Okay,
what's happening
anytime.
now may not be happening tomorrow, two
That's
hours
right.
from now, a year from now. So you're always welcome to come back and tell us how things are going in your
Definitely.
now. So again, we thank you
Yes.
for all that you shared. And hopefully, those who are looking for childcare, those who are transitioning into childcare, those who are transitioning from one childcare facility to another, hopefully we were able to share some things with you that you can use in making your next informed decision on childcare for your children. And
Definitely.
with
Yes.
that, we will say thank you for joining us for this
Thank
edition of the
you.
How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. Any other parting words that you want to give our listeners before we go?
No, but actually, yes, have fun, enjoy life. Listen, tomorrow's not promised, so please make sure that keep, your loved ones, those who maybe you hadn't talked to in a while, reach out to them, just check up on them, just live life, enjoy life, no drama, enjoy life.
There you go. Enjoy life, no drama. You heard it right
That's
here. All
right.
right. And that will do it for this edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. And until we see you the next time, I say peace.
All right. Bye, everyone.